Hello everybody, this is John from Day One, and in this video series we're going to look at kettlebells for beginners. Now, I work with a lot of general population, a lot of older clientele, a lot of people who are coming from rehab or coming off of surgery or injuries, and they really want to get started with club bells or kettlebells. In particular, they see it on TV, they see it in magazines, they see it online, they want to get going with it. The problem is they're either not ready for it or they don't think they can do it, they're afraid, and it's the fear that seems to be the biggest element to overcome and the biggest compromise to safe training, at least with something such as the kettlebell for a lot of people. So we're going to go over 3 exercises or 3 movements using the kettlebell that I like to use, if for no other reason than to get people comfortable holding and moving around and using the kettlebell. Okay. Now I also have experienced kettlebell lifters and strongmen and athletes doing the same 3 movements that I use for general population or beginners as a means to fire up the core and get ready for heavier or more complex or sophisticated kettlebell work. So it still has its place, whether it's with a lighter weight or with a heavier weight. The movements are still valid whether you're a beginner or you're an experienced lifter. Okay, so our first movement is a kettlebell Seiza Twist. Now what this does is this takes the legs out of the equation. This keeps us low to the ground, so there's not that fear of having the club way up here. The club is coming very minimally off the ground, but what we're looking to do here is focus on keeping the core activated so that the spine stays long. Okay, that's the main thing. We'll go over a couple of other structural components, but we're looking to do that while moving the kettlebell around our body. And again, what this does for beginners is this gets us comfortable using and moving the kettlebell, but again, keeping it us low to the ground, keeping the kettlebell low to the ground, so the fear is a bit more minimized, okay, and there's less chance of compromising our structure here. So start with the kettlebell out in front, spine is nice and long, shoulders are back and down, core is engaged, okay. You're going to start by keeping the kettlebell first on the ground, okay, sliding it off as far out as is comfortable to your right hand side, because what we're then doing is taking the left hand, grabbing the kettlebell, sliding it back to that side. Okay, so we're alternating, keeping the core engaged. Okay? Okay. Now what this does, by keeping the kettlebell on the ground and us sitting low, we're using a bit more arms to pull, okay? Which is what we are going to work away from. Okay. And we can bring it farther and farther out so that we have to rotate more and more and more. While we're rotating, we're still keeping a long spine, core locked down. All right, so the more we rotate here, the more the core needs to lock down, fire up to move this kettlebell. Now, second stage from here is we start to work up a little bit higher. So instead of sitting back on the tops of our feet, we come up underneath to prop us up a little bit higher, gives us a little bit more height. And what this is going to allow for is that club to come down off the ground. Okay, kettlebell comes off the ground as we pitch up with the hips. Sit back down on our haunches as the kettlebell comes to the side. As it swings through from side to side, it's all core action, okay? Grab, hip up, core, power up, no arm action. Arms powered by the core. Okay, so working again from sitting on the tops of our feet, sliding the kettlebell side to side, Core's locked down, spine's long, using a bit more arm action, but staying low, safer towards the ground. So coming up on the ball of foot, heel, core's still locked down. Okay, so lightweight for beginners, heavier weight for more advanced lifters, just to wake things up down there. Now, not everybody's going to be able to sit down in this Seiza position, so we modify it and work with a chair or a step, box, what have you. Work the same element. Now what this does, we're higher off the ground, so lighter weight is recommended to start, but we're still working the same positioning. All right, kettlebells up, comes over. Spine is long. Shoulders stay packed. All right, it's that reaching across that loads this tissue. Running diagonally. Core locks down, you pull across to unwind that tissue. Set on the opposite side. So if you are using stools and steps and blocks and chairs for this position, obviously you'll have to modify the height to each individual. All right, different torso length, but same principles apply.